Chapter 2, Navigating Compliance. So it's 1 year later, after months of trying and trying and trying, getting banned, and then over a half a year of trying all these other channels that just are not, they're just not, they're not the behemoth, they're not the just bazooka of traffic that Facebook is. And we're doing all these things, and so many great things are happening inside of MFA, but traffic is just this little thorn in our side. It's this hamstring in our business. And so Todd's just been starts talking to me, and he's like, let's just do it again. Let's do Facebook again. Let's turn it on. If we have to get another account, and even if we run it for a couple months and they shut us, we can start again. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, how do we do this? How, just go through all the work and set it up only to just suddenly be blindsided and shut down. And so I knew that we had to figure out how to navigate compliance the right way, and how to make sure that we built ads and ad accounts that would just be viewed favorably by Facebook, and would be able to scale and grow predictably and consistently, right? So that as we're growing and we're adding employees and team members, and there are new people and families counting on us and the success of MFA, like it's not just something like, well, traffic got shut, we need to go backwards for a couple steps, and people, like losing jobs and stress. Like I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it the right way. Like that's everything we do. It's never about the short term. It's never about the fast buck. It's always about doing it the right way. And so Todd was on the same page as we always are together on these things, and said, okay, like let's figure out how to really do this the right way, but we have to get back in the ring. And so he really, honestly, coaxed me back into the ring, because it was just such a brutal experience that we had been through. And just remember, just to give you a little background, before I came to uh, MFA, I was working as a director of marketing for a real estate company that's just an amazing company that's now just thriving and growing like crazy. When I came on board, we were around maybe doing around 1 million or so. By the time I left, about 2.5 years later, in large part because of our media buying strategy that I was heading up, we went from about 1 million or so to about $8 million. And the crazy thing is, these were the ads we were running. You talk about claims, right? This is not some other decade. This is right on Facebook. We would run ads with people holding checks and holding up bundles of money and saying, here's, blah, 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 did this. Do you want to flip houses to make cash and quit your job? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Now, let me tell you something. It's 100% true. The results these guys get in real estate, it's 100% authentic. But Facebook doesn't care. From everything I was told, it's like when you make claims and stuff like that, you get shut, you get flagged, like you can't do it. And so I was coming from a world where we were able to run ads like this, and we were spending a ton of money. That's where we scaled up to, by the time I left there, and the scale that I built in, we were on track to spend just shy of $1 million a year on traffic spend. And this kind of stuff was fine. And so it was extremely confusing and frustrating me to say, wow, like our stuff is so vanilla, so tame compared to somebody holding up, wads of money. Why in the world are we having issues? And so I started to really dive in and dig down. And honestly, just as an aside, like I think the reason that our account that I was running for this other company did get through all these ads and they were successful, I think is because I really believe, and again, this is just one of those, black box magic things, but I really believe that on the inside, once your account is really seasoned and really has a certain amount of dollars behind it, it's pretty hard to upset Facebook. And so I do feel like when things get really, really seasoned and built up the right way, you get to a certain point and they're just sort of like, okay, we know who you are. Like, it's maybe not our favorite ad, but we're not going to shut or flag your account. Maybe we'll disapprove an ad, but we're not going to just suddenly shut you down and cut you off at the knees like we had experienced. And so, again, it was really frustrating because the piece of advice I was given again and again, don't use a squeeze page. Facebook hates direct response marketers and squeeze pages. Instead, use some content, and more content. And so my first attempt at getting us back in the ring and back up and navigating compliance with Facebook was content ads, right? Don't use a squeeze. And so we would put an ad like this, right? Todd would write an amazing piece of content, the hierarchy of value for info products. I put it up. I put a little teaser copy, so maybe the first 2 paragraphs of the blog post, and then I said read more, and then I'd send them to a page like this that would have the same exact blog post, and they would have some little widgets on the side where they can get more information. And the fact of the matter is, uh, it just didn't work. First of all, the attribution was infeasible. And what I mean here is, as a direct response marketer, like, it's dollar in, dollar out. We have to be able to track what's going on. And so in this content strategy, it was kind of like, well, send them to some content, and then send them to some more content, and then some more content, and eventually, hopefully, they'll opt in. And so being able to figure out, well, how much did this specific ad or campaign contribute? Is it worth running this? Should we be scaling this or shutting this off? We couldn't get answers to any of those questions because the attribution in this type of model was just infeasible. You couldn't figure out what was moving the needle, if at all. And the fact of the matter is, uh, it wasn't really moving the needle. It didn't align with our direct response growth strategy. Again, in direct response growth, it's being able to look and say, hey, a new customer is worth this much to me. Therefore, I can spend this much and keep spending it all day, and I can scale profitably. I could spend this much on a lead. I need to hit this ROI in this amount of days to know that I'm growing successfully. And just with a content strategy, you just can't do that. You can maybe over the course of 6 months to a year, you can look back and say, well, we read 6 months of content, we got this many leads, and it panned out like this. But we're in a fast moving game. We're not looking to just spend 6 months on traffic and then look back and go, did or didn't it work? Okay, it didn't work. Let's change where the ship's going and do it again for 6 months. Like, we need to be able to move within a week, if not within days, and say, this is working. Boom, turn on the juice, amp it up. Or this is not working, turn it off. And content just, for us, just doesn't do it. And and so the results weren't there. And again, I was just sitting there going, my competition, all our competition, they're doing direct response ads. They're going directly to an opt-in page. They're getting a lead. They're doing it. This isn't going to work. And so we spent a handful of months doing this. Did not work. A little bit later on, I'm going to share kind of what I would call a hybrid or a new version of a content ad that has worked well for us. But this idea of just put up a content post, drive them to more content, and eventually they'll grab something. I see the value in it from branding and warming up an audience, but in terms of being able to directly scale, this is not the pipeline that'll do it. It's not going to work for us. So please don't suggest it. Don't come up with a big idea around this, because we're not going to do this to scale. It's not what's worked. And so I came back and I said, wow, we have to really nail compliance. We have to be able to do squeeze pages. Other people are doing it. And so through talking with a lot of my colleagues, looking over the experiences that we've had, I came up with the compliance checklist. And so, again, you'll see one of those gold nuggets here, because this is something you'll want to follow. You have to forget about you need to follow this, right? If you're running anything for us, you better be following this to the T. Okay, so print it, put it on your laptop, get a shirt, get a tattoo of it. And so this is everything that came, and it didn't come from one individual. This came from speaking to Charles, speaking to Kurt, speaking to all these different individuals, plus different things I'd heard from when we used to have a Facebook rep at our old company. And so what I found is, when we do this, we've overcome the compliance issue. So first of all, number one, and this all goes back to complete, absolute transparency, absolute transparency, and safe, or safety is what I should have written there. Meaning that we want to make sure that when a Facebook user sees our ad, comes to our page, that they feel like it's completely transparent, it's completely safe. There's no bait and switch where they think they're clicking on something and then they go, wait, how did I get here? And that they don't feel like, wait, this looks sneaky and suspicious, that they feel safe and it's completely transparent. So the first thing is a complete footer. I know that sounds like really unexciting, but really a complete footer, including phone number, address, terms of service, disclaimer. We used to never put this on pages because we're direct response marketers. We're like, hey, it's not going to increase opt-in rate. Don't put it there. Don't care. But from a compliance perspective, it's now our best practice to make sure it has a full address, phone number, even if it's a 1-800 number, even if we set up an automatic voicemail or Freedom Voice account for something, get that phone number on there, and terms of service and disclaimer. And it's really important with those terms of service and disclaimer that they match the site. So if we create a new site because we're doing a new campaign and we want to use a new URL, if our terms of service and disclaimer mention a domain, like our home domain, that doesn't match that site, that will throw up a flag. So the terms of service and disclaimer not only have to be present, but they need to be accurate. Number two, No direct or indirect claims whatsoever. So first of all, that means uh, no claims like in the next 30 days you can increase your sales by 37%. You can increase your profit like this. You can generate $5,000 from your. So no direct or indirect claims. Absolutely no financial claims. Okay. I should have written that down here as well, but that it falls under two. So no direct claims or indirect claims. No financial claims. Absolutely no financial claims in any way, shape, or form. Um, the safe way to do it is to either say, here's how I did this. Here's how I started using this strategy to increase our lead flow. Here's how Bob did this, as opposed to saying you did this. Um, that's the difference. Okay, so it's never, here's how you will. And I'm gonna give you an example of this in a second. See a side by side comparison. Okay, so that's eliminating those kinds of claims. 3, no claims based guarantees. Okay, so the guarantees need to be satisfaction based, not based on, if you don't increase your leads, if you don't get more sales, if you don't get more conversions, guaranteed in 30 days, get your money back. Like, cannot, we say, oh, that's great. We're giving an amazing guarantee that guarantees the results they desire. Facebook is like, You're baiting them in. You're promising them something. You're promising them a financial benefit, especially. Wouldn't even matter. It wouldn't even matter if we were in the health business and we said, if you don't lose 37 pounds in 30 days, get your money back. Like, they're like, no, that's a claim. You're trying to take advantage of people. We don't feel that's safe. Immediate flag. Okay, so no claims-based guarantees. Number 4, more vanilla-based landing pages. So just saying what it is. And again, I'm going to show you examples of these in just a minute. But a lot of times, as direct response marketers, as creative copywriters, I think that our opt-in pages can get a little bit too creative, a little bit, too off focus, and it's got to be clear as day. A vanilla landing page means like you clicked an ad, and when you get there, it's clear as day what you're getting on this page. It's a workshop, it's a download, it's a webinar, and here's exactly what it is. There's no confusion about it. And number 5, never, ever, 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 ever try to hijack the user's navigation. So doing stuff which we've done for years, exit pops, videos auto playing on pages. Those are the 2 biggies. We don't do that. Okay. So hijacking user navigation. That actually goes for AdWords as well. Never ever do this. Okay. And so when we follow this compliance checklist very consistently, very, very carefully, even not mentioning certain buzzwords like income or finances, that are, I don't want to say they're buzzwords, they're negative, like bad buzzwords, we've been able to navigate and get past compliance. And so let me show you an example. So this is the 6FF opt-in page, okay, that we were running. And just look at this. So first of all, you have right there, right, this is from the account. This is what we were scaling with that then got disapproved, that then got us banned multiple times, right? And it was like how to set up your $100,000 marketing funnel in 30 days using this formula. Okay, so it's a direct promise with a financial claim to it. Massive flag, can't do it. Okay. Um, it says, watch how I show you this works consistently to bring you new customers and sales. Again, that's a direct claim, a direct promise that you're going to get this. This is what it's going to do for you. Even the watch now button is sort of not transparent because they go, oh, I can watch this now, but instead we're saying give us your email. So it should say, click to get the video series, whatever the case may be. But that looks like I'm going to click that, I'm going to get to watch something, and the fact is that I can't. And so it's not transparent navigation. Again, not to mention the fact that it's called six-figure funnel formula, which is a direct financial claim right in the name. And so this is the example of the new E5 ad that we started running. Exclusive training. Notice it says how to grow a large list of responsive buyers with just one evergreen marketing campaign. It's educational. It's training driven. There's no, even though there's a benefit in that headline, there's no direct claim, right? There's no direct claim. Like in this workshop, you can learn how to start generating buyers with just one blah blah blah. There's no direct claim in it. There's a benefit, but by changing it to a how to and not using the word you in a court of law, which that's what Facebook is not thinking from a marketing standpoint. They're thinking from a, man, I don't want my users to sue me if they think that an ad was right that they saw on Facebook and then it turns out it's not true. that eliminates that issue. Okay, and so this is what we started running, and notice that's that how to right there. And so last but not least, we faced this strategic issue, and I'm going to show you the results of these new compliant ads in the next chapter. But I want to wrap up navigating compliance by explaining that, we went back and forth. I had a lot of discussions with Teddy, and we decided to make all our front pages compliant rather than keeping two sets of books. Because what would happen at the beginning, we were like, well, we have this page, and this is working amazing to our house list. Well, now we have to make a Facebook version of it because it's not actually compliant, it has financial claims, it hijacks navigation, it does all this other stuff. And then we would start to run that, and then what would happen is, oh, we got to run a retargeting ad. And then I would run a retargeting ad. We go, oh, no, that's going to a non-compliant version of Facebook. And so we'd have to update that. And all of a sudden we had duplicate versions of every page. And then when we wanted to change something, like we realized that something was more optimal, we changed an offer, we changed the hook, we'd have to go back and update duplicate versions of books. And it just became a disaster. And so I really just sat back and I said, on the front pages, let's just make everything compliant out of the gate, whether it's for Facebook or house list, doesn't matter where it starts. That's the best practice we're going to follow. And notice I'm using the word front pages here because really that's what Facebook cares about. They care about, like, once somebody's into our funnel, right? If email 3 that I send somebody, even email 2, maybe not email 1, but if email 2 or 3 say something like, hey, Bob, if you want to make $1 million in 7 days, you need to click this link and join this program now. Facebook doesn't care. At that point, it's not part of their Facebook experience, right? They're now on our list. This is the experience we're giving them, and Facebook is not responsible for that. But that immediate experience, right? The way, going from the ad, getting to the page, even what they see on the second page and the confirmation email they get, that's all part of that initial Facebook experience because it happens while they're probably still logged in and looking at Facebook. And just to be clear, that's not to say that on the second page in a VSL you can't have a financial claim in it or anything like that, but it does mean that it needs to be a smooth transition, right? If on the first page it's like opt in to get your free download and 7 tips, and on the second page you don't actually give them the download and the 7 tips, that's an issue, right? But in terms of having claims after the front page, that's okay. That's not an issue. It's just that first ad and that front page part of the Facebook experience need to be clear. And so again, we decided not to keep 2 books, and so I'm going to show you the results of our initial getting back online using the direct response strategy with lead capture like we knew we had to do, and navigating compliance, and I'll show you the results.